All right, we are live. Welcome to Where Do I Fit In? It's your girl Victoria Hicks of the Victoria Hicks brand. And if you're watching the replay, welcome. And we are live right now on Monday, November 30th at 8 o'clock on Facebook Live. And you can also follow us on my YouTube channel, the Victoria Hicks brand. As you all come in, let us know. Do we look good? Are we cute? How's it going? Let us know how your day was. Let us know where you're watching from. Are you in Florida, Georgia, St. Louis? It doesn't matter. Let us know. Talk back to us tonight. We want to hear from you. So already, y'all are coming in and y'all coming in quick. So let me go ahead on my Facebook page and share it again. Um, so I learned a lot. Hey, mom, my mom is on here bright and early. Hey, mom, your son-in-law is still eating your greens. I told him he better not eat no more. He need to let them greens go. It's Monday. Um, so yes, thank you all for coming on in. As you all come in, let us know how you're doing, what's going on. We want to hear from you tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and share. I use a platform called StreamYard. Thanks for sharing. And thanks from Miami Gardens, Davika. I use a platform called StreamYard. It's a third-party platform. And so if you are not my personal Facebook friend, I am going to post a link right now that allows you to allow Facebook to allow you to comment on tonight's live. We got Lake County in the house. Thank you. They say we're looking lovely tonight. Um, yes, it's been a very long day. But I'm so grateful that all of you are alive. God is good regardless. We are breathing. And so we have so much to be grateful for. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it because we have a lot to talk about tonight and we're going to talk about it. So, again, welcome to Where Do I Fit In? The movement. I am your host, Victoria Hicks of the Victoria Hicks brand. And here at the Victoria Hicks brand, I create spaces for Black women to know their purpose, operate in purpose, and live on purpose. And so I am so excited for another Monday where we can come and have a conversation about intersectionality, the good, bad, and ugly of being Black female in America. And so I'm so excited for this panel because tonight is our last Where Do I Fit In panel for the year 2020. Yes, we're going to have to shut it all the way down. Every December for the last couple of years, I use December to quiet myself, hear from God so that I can be ready for the next year. And so I want to honor that time that I've always set aside for me to spend time with God uninterrupted. And so tonight on the 30th is our last panel. I know y'all gonna be sad, but we will be back in January full strong. So why are we on here tonight? I had to end the year off talking about the many facets of friendship among Black women and sisterhood. And I think it's very important because I don't know about y'all, and I don't know if y'all watching the news, but Black women have been doing their thing this year. I don't know, but we have really shown out. And so I need to talk about the beauty of having another Black woman in your life. And so having strong friendships does not come easy for everyone. It did not come easy for me. I heard a lot from the older women in my family and just being around a little girl that, oh, I don't have female friends. Females are too messy. Don't have too many females around you. They keep up mess. And so that's what I heard. That's what I knew. And so I kind of followed in that where I would see it in school, first period, it'll be two friends, Tamika and Jessica, they friends. By third period, they done cussed each other out. Somebody done said something and it done popped off. And so I always equated friendships with Black females to being work, to being messy, to being hard. And I had some troubled times. It did not come easy for me. On top of that, because I was a pastor's daughter, I didn't know how to trust women. And my mom, I was a social butterfly. And so because I was so naive, I just thought everyone was my friend. And I had to learn quickly that they weren't, and that everyone did not have the same intentions as I did. And so what does that do when you become hurt over and over again? It becomes to make you hard, it becomes to make you bitter. And so then I became like, I don't need no female friends. I'll just hang with the fellas. I get along with them better. That's my homeboy. He gonna look out for me. And I was missing something. I was longing for something. And it wasn't until I went to God and He began to deal with me, heal me, that I began to allow females back into my life. And it has been life changing. And so tonight, I want to talk about that because for some women it's easy, for some women it's hard. And I want to talk about the many facets of being a Black woman and sharing a relationship, a friendship with another Black woman. And so I could not have this conversation by myself. I had to bring the most beautiful, baddest, smartest, wisest Black women that I know that to me embody sisterhood, friendship. And you may know them, you may not, but you're going to get to know them tonight. I must introduce to you Miss Tiana Lady T. Thompson, Miss Lakeisha Dixon, and Miss Dakia Foster. And I want them to come on, starting with Miss Lakeisha, and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, followed by Zakia, and then Lady T.
Well, thank you so much, Victoria, for having me on this platform. I am Lakeisha Dixon, a breakthrough strategist. I am a master certified life coach. I'm an author and I'm a speaker. And so I'm so happy to be here and have this great conversation with you ladies. I believe you're going to have a good time.
So good to have you. Zakia?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Zakia. By day, I'm a high school teacher. By all day and all night, I'm also a life coach and a mentor and an author. And I'm just excited to be here. Sisterhood is a conversation that I absolutely adore because I believe we need each other. And so I'm ready to have this discussion. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Miss Lady T.
Hi, hello, ladies. Hello, gentlemen out there. So first of all, thank you for having me, Victoria. I am Tiana Lady T. Thompson. I am a certified life coach, author, and now your elite realtor here in the South Florida area. And this is going to be very interesting. This is something that I think a lot of women do need to hear. So I'm ready for this conversation.
Yes, I'm so excited. So we're going to get into the conversation, but I got to set a couple of ground rules. Number one, well, not ground rules, but just some information for you. Number one, we are also on YouTube right now. So if you would like to follow us on YouTube, we are on YouTube at the Victoria Hicks brand. You can watch us live right there, right now. And I want you to share this broadcast. Tag some Black women that you know that could benefit. Maybe you know someone that has gone through a hard time with female friendships. Tag them right now in this post. Let them know that we're on. I think they're going to really benefit from this conversation. And then number three, I am supporting, and tonight's broadcast is sponsored by blackity.com. I want you to go on to celebrate. I am wearing for all womankind sweatshirt tonight and Blackity apparel. I tried to get it cute, you know what I'm saying. So I want you to support them now. Go on throughout the broadcast. Shout out to the creators of Blackity.com, Ava Bethel and Jamise Patterson. Black women doing their thing. And so I want to thank you. They sent me this sweatshirt, and so they're sponsoring tonight's broadcast. So make sure you go visit them while we are on here. They are running a sale. And so get on that sale. All right. So let's get into it. So my first question I wanted to start with, because the word sis is thrown around a lot in our community. we call everyone sis and friend and all those endearing terms. So I want to first start talking about what does friendship mean to you, and do you consider yourself a good friend? And I'm going to throw that question out to Lady T first. What does friendship mean to you?
Amazing question. And it's so funny because I had this conversation with a high school friend of mine, and what friendship means to me is someone who, because to me, friendship is bigger. Well, let me first say this. We sometimes get friendship mixed up with associates mixed up with confidants. And so I'm going to just try to categorize that right quick. To me, you could be a friend to anybody. You can be a friend to anybody in the aspect of encouraging words, being listening ear, just being a person that somebody can come and talk to. Then you have what I said earlier as far as a confidant. To me, if you ever had one of those in your lifetime, and I can thankfully and honestly say I'm 40 years old, and I have had my best friend and I have been friends since 5th grade, LaShonda Williams. Shout out to LaShonda Williams. And here's the thing, my friend holds me accountable. She is going to tell me when I'm wrong, because sometimes we have people in our lives in our corner that's not going to tell us when we're wrong, but with love. And so to me, that's the difference between what we call a friend or sis and a confidant. So you have to understand and learn to generalize. And you have associates, people that you may work with or see pass by, and hey, how you doing? How's the kids? How's the husband? How's the wife? Dogs? And so sometimes we don't understand what the boundaries are in those different scopes. And so understanding it, and I listen. People see me on social media and I'm very transparent. I'm still figuring this thing out. But understanding when you yourself is not good to you, you can't be good to nobody else. And so sometimes we want something from someone that can't give us what we want. They can't reciprocate it to us because they're no good for themselves. And so learning to be okay with that and saying, okay, well, this is not what I feel is a confidant, or maybe this is just an associate, and learning how to be okay with that. And I think sometimes we get so upset because now the person that we saw as more than just a friend, more of a confidant, is not reciprocating it back to us, and then we get in our feelings. We women, very emotional. And I think that's why we get into this thing of, women are messy, or we are, and I mean, not saying that we not, but at the end of the day, I know we are also very emotional creatures. And so understand a person can't give you something that they don't have in them. They're not a good friend to themselves. They don't love themselves. That you can't possibly expect for them to love you. And so when you do find someone who's been with you through the ups and the downs and the thick and the thins, and your first name, you have to be appreciative of that. So that's to me like what the difference between friends, associates, and confidants are.
I love that. Zakia?
I'm so glad. I'm so glad, Lady T, that you said I'm still figuring this thing out, because when you said that, I took a breath because it's the truth, right? And I think as long as we're on this earth, we will still be figuring this thing out, because we just continue to evolve as people. But when you begin to, for me, friendship is a certain level of loyalty, but not blind loyalty. It's being able to be there for each other and call me out and tell me the truth about me. It's connecting, it's bonding, it's being able to have a conversation without judgment, but with listening ears, but also able to give me some comfort in the midst of those moments. It's being there, in the trying times. But so the whole thing with us being messy, a lot of times we are, because so many of us are walking around broken within ourselves, and I think friendship has changed so much now, because like you said, we call everybody sis, everybody is sis, everybody sis. I've gotten to the point now where I've kind of flipped it a little bit. So if I say sister, to me, that means I mean it. If I say sis, it has become maybe just like a term of endearment. That's just for me. That was my way of kind of taking the name back, because I think it is such a powerful entity when we really connect, when we really bond and understand that none of us are perfect. We all are still working this out, and we all are going through something that we need some help with. So extending the same level of grace that I want from you, you understand, and extending that same level of grace back to me.
Yeah, that's good. I love that both of you all echoed that. We're still a work in progress. Like, we got, this is a practice. We got to figure this out. Like, Letitia, what does friendship mean to you?
I love this question about friendship. When I think of friendship, I think of three words. I think of one, love. I think of respect, and I think of sacrifice. Right? Imagine how many friends we would have if we extended the same grace than we do to a stranger guy that we went on a couple dates with, to a good girlfriend who we known since fifth grade. I'm just saying, imagine if we had that same grace, that same dedication of calling, and that same dedication of, hey, I did, this is what I want to do for you, that same dedication in buying gifts than we did for that guy who eventually left us in 3 months, and now you left your friends because you couldn't go out on, you couldn't be with your friends because you had a boo. But I'm gonna leave that for a later topic. But when I do think of friends, I do think of love, respect, and sacrifices. And I say that because, as someone who I believe is a great, phenomenal friend, I still have friends I've known since elementary, right? And so one thing about friendship that destroys friendship is the seed of comparison, right? And so once we get to a certain level in success, especially when you're younger, and you're not really, operating in your purpose, in your gifting yet, you guys can still be good friends because, one, you probably haven't matured yet. You haven't seen something different. Like for me, I grew up in Miami-Dade County. And so if I still had that same clique and we was just all still talking about, good sex, and talking about what kind of purse we're going to have, the older you get, that conversation dies out. And then the conversation, when you begin to be introduced to a friend who's talking about business, who's talking about legacy, who's talking about lifetime success and what we're getting ready to do from a business perspective, then that's when the friendship kind of can go haywire, because one person want to remember back in the day when we used to go to Club Tootsies, and the other friend want to talk about how we going to get this money. And so I say that because we have to be able to deal with our friends in love, respect, and sacrifice. And even if that sacrifice meaning somebody about to be slaughtered at this altar, it is not going to be me. And so when we talk about sacrifice, I say that because my best friend is married. So I can't say, hey, girl, get up 3 o'clock in the morning, come to my house. I got some issues I need to discuss. She can't do that, right? But if she called me and say, hey, get up out your bed, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I need to watch these kids while I go do this, I can do that. And so sometimes what we do is we say, well, she's not giving me what I give her, but can she give you what you're asking for because of her situation or her position? And so it's so much to unpack here in this friendship, because friendship is a sacrifice, and sometimes friendship is an inconvenience. If my best friend asks me, hey, can you watch my babies? I want to go on a date with my man, and I'm like, hey, I'm about to go out with some dude I met on Bumble. Which one are you going to choose? So sometimes it is an inconvenience, but the sacrifice for the right friend, oh my God, for the right friend, it is so necessary, because that friend may not be able to be there for you at 3 o'clock in the morning with their presence like you can do theirs, but they may undergird you in a whole nother way. A good friend is a modern day Aaron and a modern day her. They're going to undergird you in times of battles, in times of victories, in times when you need a shoulder to cry on. But every friend can't give you the same exact thing that you give them. And sometimes that's where the crippling part comes in, that, or the part where they feel, well, she didn't give me what I gave her, because everybody can't give you the same exact level of sacrifice and love and respect that you give them.
Wow, you said so much. All of you all said so much. But I love that sacrifice, because it leads me to my next question. Um, I think, and that's so true because when you are younger, what you want from a friend is totally different from what you want from a friend when you are older. And you start knowing your purpose when life really hits you. It's something that me and my sister used to be like, life, life, life. Because listen, when life hits you, your perspective on things, changes. And so that happens in friendship. And sometimes one friend is stuck in a place and another friend is evolving, and then there comes that friction because what I want to talk about you don't want to talk about anymore, and so we run into the now. The only way that we can part ways is it got to be a bad situation instead of just we're just in different spaces. I love that. So my next question is, when we talk about sacrifice, love, and respect, I want each of you all to tell me very practical things. What do you look for in a friend right now in your current life, your current age? Um, Married, unmarried, single, all of that. What characteristics do you look for in a good friend? And they may be the characteristics of a friend that you already have, but sometimes I don't think we know what to look for. And so I want to start with Zakia.
So this is interesting because I I live with balance. And that's what I look for at the moment is balance because sometimes I just need to let loose. I don't want to be not being funny, but just coach all the time. I don't want to be the person in the circle that's helping people all the time. So with my current friends, sometimes I want to go hang out, let my hair down, just chill, relax, and just be Zakia, if that makes sense. But there are times when I also need my friends to understand that Zakia is in a different space and that what we did a long time ago, these are friends who have been in my life since I've known forever, that what we did a long time ago may not be what I need to do right now because my life is about growth and elevation. So really the biggest thing for me right now is understanding balance and understanding me. And that's what I found very hard to really to connect with somebody that understands who I am, and that's really the biggest thing.
Understanding the many facets of who you are,
Right.
that can be difficult because some people only want to see you the way that they want to see you, and there's a lot of sides to me. Yeah, that's good. Lady T, what characteristics do you look for right now in a friend?
So for me right now, I would honestly say for someone who's always encouraging others, a lot of times people look at you like you have everything together. And that's why I'm so big on social media about being transparent. I look for someone who's always encouraging me. A lot of times people look at you like you are the coach, you are the mother, you got this amazing thing that they see. And I'm like, listen, at times at 3 o'clock in the morning, I know that if I call my friend or 1 o'clock or whatever time, and I say, look, this is a situation, and she's going to encourage me. And not just encourage me like, girl, you can do it. I mean, I need somebody who's going to give me something of depth, something with substance. And so at this point in my life, it is someone who's going to encourage me with substance, not just what, just girl, like I need somebody who's going to encourage me and empower me with substance. So that's what I look for right now.
That's good. That's good. Lakeisha.
That's a good question. And I think when you become older, for me, something happened when I hit 40. I'm 41 now. Okay. Something happened to me when I hit 40, and I was like, you opportunists? Are you opportunists, or are you really needing a friendship? Okay. Are you just trying to attach, like Tiana said, because you're the coach, you're the speaker, and you have some type of influence? Or are you really, really seeking a friend? One of the things that I look now in friendships is mental soberness. Because
Oh,
one of the things I cannot have is somebody draining me every single day with problems. Now, we're women, we have problems, we have issues. Can't nobody put a patent on no issues because we all got them. Okay. But when it comes to, are you going to be in my life draining me? And every time we get ready to celebrate, hey, you come with a sad story or a pity mouth story, are you one of those friends? Because I can tell you, I had those friends in my 30s, early 30s, and 20s, and it was draining because every time you're around them, it's a sad story. They have no mental sobriety to actually come into grips with their life for one day. And so I would have to say right now at this age, at this level in life, if just in Christ, in spiritual, making sure I have spiritual boundaries, because I'm a coach and I coach full time. I've been coaching full time for 8 years. So the last thing I need is a set of friends who's bringing me problems and issues every day when I'm getting paid to hear problems and issues every day. And so I want someone who has some mental sobriety. So one, they are able to work things out and we can hash it out in 15-minute phone call. We can pray about it. I can encourage the well of their soul, the well of their belly, and they can pick themselves up and put a stopwatch on pity and we can move on. But I cannot at this level, at this stage of life, have someone that has absolutely no clue how to put a stopwatch on pity. And I think when you are a coach and when people know, like Tiana says in Zakia, when people know that you are a coach or you are anything where you help people, sometimes people don't stand next to you because people don't often stand next to the strong and say you okay. They just say, well, you're strong. You seem like you got it all together. You always celebrate. You got your lashes on. You got your face beat. You got the cute outfit. You got your Gucci bag and your Chanel pen. You got your Mercedes Benz in your new house. Let me continue to dump. And one thing as women, what we must understand is that God has given us a spiritual well. And our spiritual well is he designed it to be an infiltration system. And so if I'm never pumping my well to of good things and you keep dumping on me, as soon I'm going to be dirty. I'm going to be tainted. And then I'm going to start being mentally unstable because I'm so busy with dealing with everyone around me as my friends not having a mental sobriety. And that can be a strain on any friendship.
Yeah, that is so key. I love the way you worded that, mental sobriety. I also talk about right now, I need a friend that is emotionally intelligent. I need you to know that just because I may be snappy in that moment does not mean that, I hate you, or it's time for you to pray. It's time for you to be like, something's going on. I've been on the phone and literally be like, hey, and my friend go, what's wrong? What's going on? Okay, what do I need to do? All right, let's pray. That's what I don't need nobody. Girl, life is coming at us fast. I need you to be emotionally intelligent to understand that things are going on and I need you to pray for me. I may need you to just say something. I may need you to be like, it's okay, I'll call you back. I understand. And we just move on. And I think that's so important. That's really good. Put a stopwatch on pity. Yes, that was good. You need to trademark that. You got to write that one down. Put a stop. I was just telling someone that because I work with I'm a coach in a different way. I coach teachers. And so I deal with that as well, where sometimes the teachers feel like they can just come and dump and dump and dump. And that gets so exhausting at times. And I have to tell them, okay, enough. Go teach the children. All right, good job. All right. um, my next question is, this was a bad transition because I got caught up in what we were talking about. Do you think everyone has to learn how to be a good friend? And if so, who taught you how to be a good friend? Is that something that you just had? Did experience teach you that? Anyone can answer. You can let me know who wants to answer that one. Go ahead,
So,
Zakia.
so I definitely believe that it of course, like most relationships, it starts with how you're raised. And I believe that so many of us were raised through survival. and then you have some that were raised through love. For me, I believe my grandmother raised me, and she raised me in love. And sometimes, I'm gonna be honest with you, in this day and age, I've had to feel good about having that quality, because sometimes it feels like it's better to just be in survival mode, because it appears that that's the trend of who most people are. Because when you're in love mode, you tend to maybe be hurt at times, if you
Yeah.
understand. So I've had to learn to work through that, and not change who I am, but value that quality, and just pray that I get the right friends in my life. And so I definitely believe it stems from how you're raised. It can it be taught? I'm not sure it can be taught. I mean, I just don't think it can be taught. But I believe anybody that has a heart for it can get there if that's what they want. And there are some women that want that sisterhood. There are some women that honor that code. There are some women that understand the strength that we give each other. There are some women that understand we really do need each other. But sometimes they go through these cycles. And I'm gonna tell you, I believe also too, sometimes it depends on age. Like what I did when I was in my 30s, I won't do now in my 40s. You understand? What I did in my 20s, like I think back to the kind of friend that I might have been in my 20s. I was like, what? Why did I do that? So then you have to, because I've had friends that have been younger than me that made decisions that made me scratch my head. I had to then think back to when I was that age and what I would have did. And so, being that we're in this day and age now where we're all so connected, we know each other mess. When before, a long time ago, we was making mistakes in private, nobody didn't know about it. So things have changed now. Now we know about everybody's mistakes, and so I believe it can be taught, or not just so much taught, but even patterned if it's something you so desire to have.
That's good. Lakeisha.
I agree with Zakia. I do believe being a great friend can be taught. I believe also we have different love languages. We think about that's just for our man. As soon as we meet this man, we giving him a love language test. Give it to your darn friend, right? Find out what her love language is, because sometimes we deal with people like I have a friend who don't apologize. When she wrong, she'd be like, let's go get some food. Come on, meet me here. Or she'll get a little gift. She would not apologize. But I know, because I know her, I know that that's her way of saying sorry. She ain't going to say, well, girl, I'm sorry. Now I'd be like, hey, I'm sorry. I take full responsibility. She won't do it. And so because I know that's how my friend is, I don't get an attitude when she don't say I'm sorry. I know she ain't going to say it. She would say, let's go get some food. Let's go get some cake, because she know I love to eat. So for when she apologized to me, she gonna say, let's go get some food. But I realized something. I grew up in a house. My mom didn't have a lot of friends. If the truth be told, my mom did not have a lot of friends. I didn't see my mom entertaining. Like my friends, I like people to come over my house. I love people to fly down to Atlanta from Miami because I like to entertain. I put their towels on their bed. I'm cooking meals. I'm baking cakes and cookies for them. I love to serve. It's naturally in my DNA, but I picked that up from my father. My father is naturally a server, which is why him and my mom probably couldn't make it. But my father is naturally serve people. I see my father go through the communities and ask the older people, do you need your trees cut during hurricane season? My father served people. And so I took on a part of that DNA and characteristic from my father. But now I am a friend that like to hear word of affirmation. So if I send you a book cover, or if I send you some speaking topics, I want you to boost my head up, right? But I know that I can do that to my best friend, because she can be like, girl, this is good. This is hot. So I know who to send it to feed my love language, right? But if I send it to another friend, I'm like, yeah, that's okay. And I'm like, let me call you back. Let me go call somebody else, because everybody have that thing that they like. But I do believe friendships are taught, but I also believe when you find it in your spirit, recognize a good friend, you naturally unlock. Because you like, this is a good person. And so I want to do some nice things to show them. Again, friendships is just like relationships. That's why when you have a friend for 10, 15 years and y'all, something goes sour and the friendship is destroyed, it's like a depression. It's like it's like your heart have torn. And I want ladies to understand, friendship, we must understand this whole thing. Friendship is not just effort. Again, it goes back to friendship is sacrifice. And I love what you said too, Victoria, about I need friends that understand. Like if I'm snappy, you ain't getting mad and going to put me on social media. If you know that I'm aggressive, like my best friend know I'm aggressive. When I'm planning something, do this, do that. I don't say please do it, please. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? So she knows naturally, which is why I like working with her, because she knows my characteristic trait is very aggressive and dominant when it comes to doing things. But another person maybe like she didn't even say please. She didn't even say thank you. But if they know me, they'll know, hey, when Lakeisha is in that zone, she ain't gonna do a lot of please and thank you. And so I really do believe it's TD Jake said it best. And then finish my point. You don't learn everything in the course. You learn on the course. And so sometimes just being friends with that person, you'll begin to know, oh, she's sweet. Oh, ooh, don't do that because she don't like when you call her that. And you'll just learn that person as you are on the journey.
Yeah, that's good. Lady T.
So I am going to agree. So I believe friendship is definitely learned and use, because I'm going to use me for an example. My mother and my godmother, which is like an aunt to me, they've been friends for over 40 something years. And I think that because I saw that growing up and still to this day, I mean, they talk to each other like as if they talked to each other yesterday. But seeing a healthy friendship, I said to myself, when me and my best friend became friends in 5th grade, it was like, okay, I think that if I would have saw something contrary to that, then I probably would have been the person to say, you know what, yeah, women are messy or you shouldn't have friends. But one thing that Lakeisha said that I'm going to definitely piggyback on, we as women will give a guy 1,001 chances. He can mess up, and you will say, you know what, I'm mad at him, and you know what, we'll give him a second chance. But let our female friends say something wrong, we're going to cut them off, shut them down, post it on social media, all the subliminal messages, and listen. And one thing that Zakiya said that I definitely had to piggyback on is, and even now, and I speak of this so much on social media has destroyed so many things because people so emotional would get so mad. And we know Drake said it in one of his songs, we can become Twitter fighters, get on social media and we bash people subliminally. And the thing about doing that is words hurt so bad you can't take that back. I mean, it cuts deep. And you think that, okay, I'm saying this because I'm upset. But in reality, as adults, and like we said earlier, when we was in our 20s and our 30s, we did certain things. We say, even biblically, say, when I was a child, I thought like a child. Now that I'm a man, I put those childish things away. So as we become older and wiser and more seasoned, those things like social media should be put away. I believe we should be able to come to a person and say, you know what, I was wrong, and let's put all our cards on the table and let's move forward. And I can speak, and y'all know I'm very transparent on social media. Anybody know me? Listen, my husband had to say, you tell it all. I do tell it all. Recently I had a friend of mine who me and her had not spoken to in 3 years. 3 years. But recently, and let me tell you about reconciliation. When you can reconcile with someone, sometimes you don't even realize what it was that you said or that they said. But it goes back to the same situation. I know women who will put up with a man, a no good man. Look as I can, a no good man, but will forgive him 70 times 70. But when a woman do something to displease them, they cut them off, they done block them, they done wrote them off. And listen, I think that coming into social media, back in the days, we didn't have that. We didn't have social media. So when things got tough, we got mad, we had to see each other in school, around the street, around the neighborhood. It was, you know what? Now we got to talk. We got to talk it out. And I think social media has had it to where we stopped talking and we started texting and typing. And so my whole thing is, yes, I think that friendship is definitely something that is taught, but I also believe that as you grow older, certain things can be learned. You never stop learning. The day you stop learning is the day you die. And for me, I'm always continuously learning about myself, about other people. I understand, look at people from a different spectrum. So I definitely believe that it is taught, something that is taught, but it's also something that you can also learn.
Yeah, that's good. Y'all are on it tonight. Everyone in the comments is enjoying this. If you are enjoying this, share, share, share. We are dropping gems. We're having a great conversation. All the questions we are asking tonight, you can answer them in the chat. We want you all to join us in this conversation. I love the fact that all of you all touched on it, that it can, that friendship can be taught, because it all starts, like Zakia said, from the childhood. I love Cinnamon's put on her comment that she learned how to be a friend from her mom. And in some regards, my mom, she I love her, but she is skeptical of everyone. And that comes from her experience, and I get that. But I just wanted to just love everyone that I met. Like every person, every room that I walked into, I walked away with a friend. And that used to aggravate her, because she'd be like, well, who is this? And that is not your friend. And why and it then it caused me to, okay, if they actually did something, then I'd be like, my mom was right. That person wasn't who it is. And so now, even with my daughter, when she hit middle school, and I want, my point is this, and I'm going to make it in a second. When she hit middle school, she struggled with friendships. I was like, what? You're not talking to her no more? Well, what happened? What's going on? And I realized she don't know how to be a friend. And so I had to then start having conversations. Okay, what makes a good friend? Why do you call her friend? Is she just somebody that y'all have class together, or is she a true friend? When you told her your business, she then told everybody else in the group. Do you think that's a good friend? We don't teach our girls, especially now with social media being their first introduction. My daughter doesn't get to remember the days where there was no social media, right? When you and your friend fell out and you had to call and then ask her mama, like, hey, is Keisha there? Okay, can I call? They don't get any of that. And so I'm nervous for the next generation of Black young girls who are trying to navigate friendships, and they don't know. And so I think it's so important. I just wanted to put a pin as we move forward in this conversation, that if you're raising a daughter, if you're raising a Black woman, you need to have conversations about what is a good friend, and that it is important, and that you do need friendships to navigate through life. And it does not have to look like what it looks like on TV and reality TV. That friendships are important. And then you need to model that in front of them. We have to teach them. And I was so shocked just walking through these last 3 years of middle school. My baby's about to go to high school. She didn't know what it meant. She didn't understand it. They just cuss each other out, get on Snapchat, send the subliminal messages, and all of this crap. And it's so toxic. And so we really, really, really have to be, first off, examples, right? We need to stop getting on social media, sending our subliminal messages about another Black woman. And then we need to teach the younger generation. All right, so let's move on. I want to ask this question. How important is loyalty in a friendship? Zakia talked about it. She mentioned it a second ago. But when you all think about friendship, how important is loyalty? And do we sometimes stay in bad friendships for the sake of loyalty? Any one of you all can go. Lakeisha?
So I'm not going to be loyal to you if I'm drowning, right? If I'm suffocating with loyalty, then I'm being foolish. There's faith and there's foolishness, right? Some friendships I don't believe every friendship that you create will carry you through a whole lifespan, right? Different things happen. I am of the truth is some people outgrew you and you outgrew some people. Not everybody you outgrew. Some people outgrew your behind, right? And so I believe that we have to recognize seasons and times of these friendships because they are not going to be the whole lifespan. And when you recognize that friendship is suffocating you, that friendship is hurting you, is keeping you up at night, there are some things that need to be addressed. Now, I am a firm believer as a friend of great effective communication, right? If your loyalty is killing you, say, hey, listen, I'm noticing there's some changes in our friendship. And I had to do this recently with a friend. I'm noticing some changes in our friendship. Once this happened, I seen that you started doing this a little differently. Tell me what the problem is. And they continue to say, well, I don't have any problems with you. I'm like, no, because you used to be this way. Now you this way. What's the problem? But then a week later, I got a text message saying what the problem was, right? And so the friendship had to be severed because in the moment of truth, in the moment of being exposed to expose the real truth wasn't spoken, and as a result, the friendship had to be severed. And so when it comes to loyalty, I think that's the word that we can overuse. You are loyal in a friendship when you see your friend putting in sacrifices, effort, and respect. That's when you loyal. But when you start to see a breach in the trust, in the commitment, and they're doing things that may not be honorable, because I'm real big on honor. When they start doing things that's not honorable, and then you may have to sever that friendship. But I'm a firm believer. I'm going to tell you in your face or on the phone before I put you on Facebook, because I use Facebook for business and inspiration and impartation, not for me to be having no Facebook social media arguments. So yes, there's faith and that's foolishness. But when you see people start acting different, speaking differently in what they used to be committed to, they're no longer committed to no more. You have to have a conversation. Confrontation breeds conversation. From conversation is correction and change. But if you all can't come to a mutual understanding of this friendship, then it's time for that friendship to be severed.
That's good. Lady T, how important is loyalty and friendship?
So for me, in this, understanding what the word loyalty means to a person, because that's important. Somebody may think the word loyalty means that I won't tell your secrets, but when you understand what the word loyalty means, is that it means that you're devoted to that person. You have an allegiance with that person. And so somebody may be upset with you because now they're doing something and you're like, listen, I don't think that's a good thing, or whatever the case may be, and you're calling them out on their mess, like Lakeisha was saying a minute ago. You're moving different, you're acting funny, and sometimes a person don't like to be called out on it. And so understanding that being a part of that loyalty is being loyal to yourself too. You got to be first to your own self, be true first. And so even when it comes to, like Lakeisha was talking about, severing ties, sometimes being loyal to yourself, you have to sever ties. Doesn't mean, and this is one thing that I want to touch on about severing ties. It is not the act of severing, it is the way you do it. That right there is something that like Zakia said earlier, we are still learning. I learned recently, it is not about what you do, it's how you do it. And so sometimes saying to yourself, you know what, I can't be devoted to this foolishness that you got going on, because it's not where I am at in my life. Maybe when I was in my 30s or my 20s, I was okay with it. But now moving forward, I'm growing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, going forward. I can't keep going backwards. So I have to cut ties with certain things. And so first being loyal to yourself and understanding what that means. So for me, loyalty is something that's very important. You have to understand that what is it that your loyalty, what is it that your loyalty to? My loyalty, if my loyalty has to first be with myself, what my morals are, my standards are. And so taking that into a friendship, now it's like, okay, so I am loyal to you. Some people are only loyal to you with contingents. As long as you make me feel a certain way, as long as you can stroke my ego, as long as we're going to be, doing this together. You know, and TD Jakes talked about it when I was listening to a video that he talked about some months ago when he talked about constituents. Understanding what a constituent is. As long as we are doing this together, we're on this cause. But the moment that we are no longer doing this together, now we no longer, you know, we're not. I'm not loyal to you. I have no need for you. So understanding what it means to you, because everybody have a different understanding of what loyalty is.
Dakia, that's good.
So we've all heard the phrase, we teach people how to treat us, right? And I'm going to give you an example of one of my best friends. She's amazing, amazing. She's been my best friend. We picked up a baton together in high school, and we've been best friends since then. But I've watched her, you know, like do when she gets her mind set on something. I've watched her work through it. I've watched her grow. I've watched her, you know, set standards. I've watched her set boundaries for her own life. And so I've watched her be loyal to herself. It made me a better friend to her because I've watched her be loyal to her goals, loyal to herself, loyal to the things that she wants to accomplish. And so I think when we talk about loyalty, like she said, first we got to be loyal to ourselves. It's not about whether or not somebody told my business, this, that, and the other, because yeah, we know that's a thing. But I also want to state this. If we ever decide that we want to tell someone anything that's quote unquote a secret, anything that comes out of your mouth, be prepared to defend it just in case it ever comes back. Because, I mean, let's just be honest. Sometimes people will get mad at you and then sell all your business. So I just want to throw that out there for free. So, but loyalty is, you know, I got to be loyal to myself first. I can't expect anybody to show any loyalty to me that I'm not showing to myself. So if I'm not getting that back, I question me. What am I putting out there? What am I showing? You know, and if I find that, you know, it could be them, it could be me. But the first person I look at is me, whether or not I'm being loyal to myself. Because sometimes we're just not loyal to ourselves. We in and out, we back and forth. So when we find that we getting that same treatment back, we can't be mad. The first person we got to deal with
Yeah, that
is
is
us.
so good that we must first be loyal to ourselves. And I love what you said that your friend taught you in her approach to how she treated herself, that she set boundaries. Boundaries is my word, boundaries is my thing. I believe that, you know, if something happens in a friendship and you don't like it, it triggers you, it upsets you, it bothers you must say something then. You have to. Because what happens is we all got a little passive aggressive in us. And they do it again and they keep doing it. And next you know, you don't blew up on them. And they are totally oblivious to why this is happening. And sometimes that blow up can never come back to reconcile because it was, you know, sometimes when some of us blow up, we blow up. But it could have been nipped in the bud with that conversation, those tough conversations that some of us are so afraid to have. But that goes back to making sure that you are emotionally intelligent. Can you, as uncomfortable as it is, go to a friend and set the boundary? Because one thing that I cannot stand is that you keep doing something that bothers me and I just act like it doesn't exist. And that goes back to you being loyal to you. You got to be truthful with yourself to say, this thing bothers me. I don't like this characteristic of my friend. I love her, but I gotta let her know, like, when you do this, my friends knew. I know everybody be calling each other the B word and it's cute and fun. I just have a problem with it. It don't work for me. So it just doesn't work for me. For some people, I mean, they let it rip. But for me, that thing, when I hear that thing ricochet and it just does something to my spirit and I be ready to fight because I don't know how to decipher what I don't understand. So I have to let you know, like, hey, that right there, that don't work for me. And so they know I'm not gonna call you that. I don't call nobody else that. So let's just go with that. And I think that's so important because when we're doing friendships, keep going back to this notion that we are all trying to figure it out. And I think we do that with setting boundaries. You have to set boundaries. And the only way that you can set a boundary is when you are true and loyal to yourself. Like Zakiya said, if you in and out about how you feel about a certain thing, then that person is going to treat you that way. I had a friend of mine, and she was saying that her friend, 1 month they want to talk, the next month they don't want to be bothered, the next month they want to go party, the next month they don't want to be bothered. And she said, I don't know what to do with that. And I said, what boundaries did you set? Do you do that? And so I was able to show her that she does that herself. It may not be so blatant, it may not last that long, but she also is one day she this, one day she that, one day she this. And I said, so those are the types of things that are going to show up in your friendship because you're not being true to yourself. Anybody else want to add on that before we go to our second segment? We're good.
I do really quickly. I want to add something really quickly, and it's about what you just said, Victoria. A lot of times we don't realize that the friends that are around us in some way, shape, or form are actually a mirror to us. And I read this about a month ago, and it was the biggest aha moment of my life. And I said, oh my gosh. And I realized, I said, well, this is the reason why. And when you start elevating and moving up, why certain people just automatically become, not there anymore. Because when you stop mirroring certain personalities or certain things, that was the reason why. But that is so true. Your friends around you, for everybody who's watching this, the thing in that friend that irritates you, you got to sometimes look and say, do I do that same thing? And 9 out of 10, you do.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with our romantic relationships. Lord knows. Um, so I want to move on to that whole developing and maintaining. We've been talking about what friendship is. And so now I want to kind of move into the process of developing a friendship as an adult and then maintaining it. For some of you all, and I want to hear especially Lakeisha's story, because I know her evolution with her best friend. For some women, they have maintained long relationships, and I think I've heard all of you all say that. Unfortunately, all of my friends from when I was a child, I'm not really that close with anymore, and so I've developed friendships in my later 20s and now 30s. So for you all that um, I know everyone has heard Drake's song, and if you haven't, No New Friends. And so this was a thing that women were all in clubs singing, and I don't want no new friends, and they be with their girls. And that thing bothered me because I was like, if I had lived by that, I would not have the women that I have in my life now. If I had said no new friends, I'm not going to make any new friends as an adult. I'm going to keep my ones that I've had since I was in child or teenager, then I would not have the friends that I have now. I would not have the women around me that I have now. So what are your thoughts about that whole no new friends and your thoughts about making friends as an adult?
So I'm gonna say this. I think that whole no new friends a lot of times comes from hurt, and it's a defense mechanism. Like I put up the walls. I don't want no new friends. I don't want to deal with this. So definitely it comes from a place of hurt. Another thing that I think as an adult making new friends going forward, one of the biggest things that is the word that you said earlier, Victoria, is boundaries. You have to set boundaries and have realistic expectations. So number one, understanding that if somebody does something to me, I was a person that I would let it slide. I would be like, okay, as this Tiana, Lady T, this one right here, I'm going to express how I feel. And not just in a way of like we say, I'm going to read them, I'm going to, I'm going to tell them about themselves. No, it's about being educated emotionally, saying to say, you know what, I didn't like what you said. And just it doesn't sit well with me. Because if you don't, like you said, you'll wait and you'll blow up. And a person be mad at you for 10, 20 years and you don't even know why. So definitely number one, as an adult, I do definitely believe in new friends. My mindset years ago was totally different. because I did compare a lot of my new relationships with my best friend. Like, and I had to realize, Tiana, you can't do that. This is LaShonda is who LaShonda is. You can't compare this person to that person. Everything is not cookie cutter. So that was one of the biggest things that I learned. Everybody is an individual. So as an adult, you can't compare who you knew 25, almost 30 years ago to the person that you're meeting today. And so understanding setting boundaries, being able to speak about the things that you don't like, that B word and addressing me as so, listen, I had to tell a very good friend of mine recently, I don't use those kind of words. I don't like hearing it. It has nothing to do with anything but who I am now. Maybe some years ago when I was in my 20s, we talked like that. But now I have kids and I am, especially for my daughter, talking about raising a daughter to be, she's 20 years young. And so they mimic what we do. They don't, kids are not like, oh, just do what I say. No, they mimic what you do. And so certain things and setting boundaries and letting them know, don't let that person make you feel this kind of way. If they feel uncomfortable, talk about it. And so definitely setting boundaries, but also having idea, realistic expectations of people. Realize people are human beings. Nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes, and so are they. But letting people know how you feel when you feel the way how you feel. So absolutely, I do believe that's one of the biggest things as making friends as an adult.
Yeah, that's good. Lakeisha?
Oh, I do believe in making new friends, but here where that can be a pro and a con. Um, at this level, the problem is when you're a person who always show yourself friendly, people naturally attach to you, not understanding. I view you as a person of that respect and associate, but you're not yet my friend. And I have had this in a lot of situations over the past 2 years. So because I show myself friendly, the moment you release a book and I don't buy it, we have problems, and I get inboxes. I thought you was my friend, right? And so I think that there is so many different levels to this whole friendship thing, and what we call no new friends. I love developing friendships, but I do believe sometimes in friendships, you will only know the tree by the fruit it produces. And cultivating new friendships in your 40s is something totally different in 18, 19, 21. Everybody's kumbaya, my Lord, come by here. The older you get, the more boundaries and guidelines that is in place. But one of the challenging things that I must be totally real with this, since God has blessed me in certain areas because I'm friendly. Hey girl, hey boo, and I will post on your page and share different things. When you feel that I need to purchase your book or join your MLM, in the moment I say no, or that's not what I'm going to do, it becomes a inbox message. You're not supporting me. I thought you was my friend. And so for me, that has been a challenge, and I have been experiencing that a lot lately, which is why now I'm strategic now about who are my new friends. I'd rather meet these person in another space, because the more, when you're sharing your story and you're transparent, like that, like Lady T say, she is very transparent. When you're sharing your story, people think I know her. Like somebody posts on my page, call me now. I inbox you. It's like, wait a minute. So the more you share, the more influence you begin. And when you're personable with people, automatically they see you as, this is my buddy doll. I'm going to carry her around, and I need her to do certain things. And when you can't do it, that's where the friction come in at, and that's what it's so much. And so I believe, and this goes to the mental sobriety, because there has been new women that I have met who have connected me with some wonderful people, or have opened up certain portals and doors for me, and never wanted a thing in advance. They just was like, hey, I see you a good person. I just want to support you. Here it go. And they're not looking for me to buy into their multi-level market. They're not looking for me to join their team. They're not looking for me to purchase their books. Because if you're a person that has influence, you can't buy 5,000 books. You can't buy everybody who's releasing a book, and you don't want to. Okay, let's put it that way. At 40, you can just tell the truth. I don't want to. And so I feel like that's the only part it gets tricky. But I do believe in new friends, because I have gotten some new friends over the past 3 years that has came in my life and has been absolutely what I needed. I didn't even know I needed. So I do believe in new friends, but I believe in getting those friends, cultivating those real friendships where we're calling each other. Maybe we'll go out every now and then, checking on each other either through a telephone call or voice text, but cultivating it. If that person is not calling you, y'all not sending text messages every now and then. I'm not talking about you got to be on the phone with them for 3 hours. But if y'all not, there's not no kind of reciprocation, then that's not your friend. That's your associate or someone you know. But friendships, there should be cultivating, and a seed does not grow overnight. So when you in my inbox, I just want to be your friend. Now I'm questionable about you. But if we are cultivating and we plant the seed and we see from watering the seed is growing roots, let it begin to root in place into something beautiful.
That's good. I love the words cultivate, because I think that cultivation requires work. It requires effort. It requires vulnerability. And so if you are an adult and you desire friendships, it's going to cost you something. One, I think it was Luann, I love this. Cultivating friendships is expensive, and that's not money. Cultivating friendships requires your time. You got to make an effort. If you say you're my friend, then you're going to check up on me. You're going to call and see about me. You're going to invest your time, your energy, sometimes your resources into what I'm doing. And it should be reciprocal. And so I think that that is great. Zakia, did you want to add anything?
I do. It's so funny because when that song came out, I questioned my whole life because I'm so hey girl, hey. I was like, well, am I doing something wrong? So when that song came out, I was like, wait a minute. But again, I had to go back to me deciding not to change who I am. But like Lakeisha said, in realization, you do, because we can be so friendly. Like, I understand everything they're saying. I'm very transparent too. I'm very transparent because being in this space, I never want people to see me as this perfect person. I'd rather them see my stages and how I'm doing it and my growth. So I've had to learn what somebody else said is look at the fruit. And that's where I'm at right now. Like, I got to see a fruit. I'm going to still be hey girl, hey, because that's just who I am. But we're not going to call each other friend per se, because I want to know that even when you see me going, because I can be weird. I really can. I can be hey girl, hey 1 minute. And the next minute, I don't really have a whole bunch to say because I'm in my zone. I'm getting downloads, da da da. So I want to know that when I go into my zone and I'm not hey girl, hey, you don't think I'm acting funny. You understand? So now I want you to really get to know me before I can call you friend, because I don't want you to go say, oh, you rude, you disrespectful, da da da, because I'm not. But I am different. I am who I am. I'm not trying to be anybody else. And I've had to embrace who I am. And everybody may not like that, because some people want you to be who they want you to be. And if I can't be who you want me to be to you, then you get mad, and now you on social media saying, oh, she called herself a life coach, but she didn't even do this for me. We're not doing that. So now I have to see the fruit. And if there is no fruit, one, we not friends. I'm gonna still be hey girl, hey, because I love you. And if there is some fruit, then we can maneuver towards that word, and then we can help each other, because iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So what I love that, Zakia, you just preached. You and Lakeisha and Tiana, y'all preaching tonight. One thing that I love about that is the fruit part of it, because it's hard developing friendships as an adult, because like Lakeisha said, there are other stipulations that come into play. Um, Life is busy, you got your thing going on, and then you're trying to incorporate a new person into your life. And especially when you are a person that is, how can I say, a public figure. You're well known. You have influence. People know you. Um, you have to be cautious because literally, I believe one friend can change your life, and one friend can change your life. Like one friend can come in your life and change your scope, elevate your thinking, change the way you see life. I mean, come in, connect you with someone, and it just be a electric, powerful thing. And then you can become friends with someone, and next thing you know, I mean, everything that you worked for, prayed for, can be literally taken from you because of a connection. And so I don't like when Drake says no new friends. I think you can have new friends, but as an adult, a grown woman that is self-assured of who she is you're going to have to be more strategic. Um, and that's okay. But there are some steps and some levels to it. And so I want for Black women in particular to be careful in being so thirsty to be someone else's friend. Because I'm going to tell you now, to be my friend comes with a lot. It comes with a lot. And so don't just be so thirsty to be my friend because, oh, it's Victoria and she has this going on and all of this. Because when you my friend, you got to know how to pray because I'm gonna be needing it. You gonna have to learn how to navigate different spaces. You're gonna have to learn how to deal with my moodiness. You're gonna have to learn how to deal with my short temper. You're gonna have to learn how to deal with that. And so don't be so thirsty and be so quick to be someone's friend. Really assess why you want to be someone's friend and check your motive. Yeah. So I want to move on to this because anybody want to add something before we go on? I want to talk
Just what
about
you just said, Victoria, the mode, the intentions of why do you want to be my friend? That's powerful. That's all.
yeah. And I
Yes, and I do
also
want to touch on this. Okay,
go ahead.
I'm sorry,
Go
Victoria.
ahead.
I do want to add that too because we see a lot of that, right? So we see like people bandwagon jumping friends based on their popularity. Because you feel like if I befriend her, she gonna put me on her platform and I'm gonna be popular. And the Bible clearly tells us to imitate those through faith who inherit the promises. You jumping on anybody bandwagon, you don't know if it's through faith, foolishness, or selling their soul. And so I do believe that as women, we have to stop minimizing people who have power and jumping on just because they're popular, because you don't even understand what you're setting yourself up for. You don't know how they got what they got. And so I see that a lot with women. They'll be, oh, you so great, you so awesome, you so, as soon as you do one thing and somebody else they seen got 2 Gucci belts and 5 Louis Vuitton bags, they over there with them. And so it's just like you have to question, like Tiana said, the motive. What is the motive? Are you looking for a life-changing, transforming experience? Or are you looking to just get on something that's not even your mission or calling? And so I do believe that when you develop, I'm sorry, true
You good.
friendships, and good friendships, I don't care if the person you develop a friendship, it stays in the backside of Mississippi and nobody knows their name. When God wants to bless you, he is going to bless you. And so this cultivation thing is real because people, Black women, are being scared to make friends with certain people because you don't know if they're coming on as an opportunist just to drain your well dry to get an opportunity and go on jump shop ship to the next. It didn't bring you and deposit anything into you. And so we have to be careful. And so that's why I tell people who come in my box and say, God said you're my friend. God said you're my mentor. I say, have you even watched my page for a good month? Have you invested in a low dollar, $15 book? Because if you haven't done any of that, God could not have said that because you're not even willing to invest. And friendships has a certain level of investment. And so, whether it be time, whether it be conversation, whether it be us sharing information, there is a level of investment. So, I'm sorry I had to go there, but
Yeah.
Tiana had a great point. This whole, we got a lot of people just want to be your friend because they think that, you know, you about to put them on something. And the only person who gonna put your behind on is God. God will send men for you and people for your life. It has been strangers who have came to me and opened up doors of opportunity. And so we got to stop forcing the hand of another woman to want to be our friend. And when that person say no, you feel rejected. Nope, 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 nope. Because that was not a God thing. That was your thing. And it's a big difference.
And I just want to add to that, because I want to say it also comes from us knowing our worth. And I'm speaking from experience. I have brought people into my life because I did not know my worth, and thinking I needed them as a friend, you know, and subsequently it hurt me. And I had to stop and do a self inventory for me and ask myself, well, why was I so quick to believe that she was even my friend from the first place? And why did I feel like I needed her to be my friend? Did I even know my worth to know, no, I am enough? And so sometimes we don't even know we're enough, so that when we become that, we're not so quick. Like you said, we don't have to be thirsty for it. When we become that, we can be more selective. We can wait. We don't have to jump at the first opportunity to have a friend just because we need a friend. You know, and that's how I was. I was kind of sort of in this new space, and I was like, well, maybe I need some more friends and that. So I was a little thirsty for it. And I was very vulnerable at that in that time. And so it hurt me. I'm gonna be very honest with you, because like you said, you can have a friend that can either do good or you understand. I've been through it. And so I had to do my own inventory and build me up. And so we got to know we're worth that and understand that. But we're not so thirsty for it. Because when we thirsty, you know that's how we get hurt, right? Okay. Right.
Yes, yes, yes. That's so good. My question is, so on one hand, we have women who struggle with developing new friendships, and then women who stay in friendships that are toxic. So the earlier in this pandemic, I attended Kalita Forbes, and if you don't know who she is, you need to know Dr. Kalita Forbes. She had a right after the Insecure season, this last Insecure season went off. She did a 4-day conference on the show Insecure and talking about friendship. And one of the things she talked about is that so many Black women are literally on emotional plantations with other Black women, where, for example, you and your friend. So here it is, you have a friend, y'all know each other, y'all are good friends, and then you get a man, and she wants to dictate what goes on in y'all relationship, right? Or you get a job and she wants to dictate how you are to approach the job. I remember having a friend, and I remember going to get my nails done, y'all. Going to get my nails done, they needed to be done. And I showed up, we went somewhere later that day, and she said, "You went and got your nails done and you didn't ask me to go with you?" I mean, she was upset. She was, why didn't you ask me? Why wouldn't you ask me to go and get your, why didn't you? So now we just go and get our, so yes, we did go and get our nails done before together, but I didn't think it was something that we had to do every single time. And so then it was, oh, you went and got food, or you went to Wingstop, so you didn't call me. Oh, so I guess we don't get, and it just became so burdensome. If I brought in a new friend, oh, I don't like her, you know, she about that foolishness, who she think you are? And I'd be like, you, what? And I didn't know how to deal with that because I love this person. This is my friend. Like, I don't understand. And so you then, whenever you bring someone around, you got to explain, you know, your friend to that one. Okay, now when you get around this one, she gonna say some slick stuff, but she really don't mean it because she did. So my question to you is, have you ever been in that type of friendship? Or were you that friend? We can be honest. How did you handle that? Did the friendship have to sever? How did it come to be? Because this is real life. And when I share this story, people are like, oh my God, I had a friend just like that. That emotional plantation that Dr. Forbes talks about, and she said it way more eloquently than I could. But that thing hit me when she talked about it. I said, that's what that was. It was literally like I was a slave to their emotional whatever they had going on. But I love this person. This is my friend. You know, we've gone through so much, and it just, how do we get out of that? What do we do? What are the signs? Let's talk about it.
So I'm gonna say this because this is amazing. First of all, Insecure. If y'all have not seen that, me and my daughter had a whole conversation about the friendship of Issa Rae and her friend on Insecure, but that's a whole nother story. So I've experienced that once in my life, and this was when I was in my 20s, and I was a new mother, and me and this person worked together. We're working together, and when I saw the signs, and I immediately nipped that thing in the bud because my mouth back then was very mouthy. So I would tell you about yourself. And so, but I would see as I grew older, other women who it would be a particular person who, yeah, I don't know. I don't think your friend likes me. Everybody don't like them. Everybody and who is she? And like, but you know what that comes from? That's here. And when you understand that it is a reflection in the mirror, that comes from unworthiness, that comes from you being hurt, and you don't want anybody in your personal space because I don't want them to take you from me. That's something emotionally that's done, and nobody can fix that person. Even if you stop being friends with that person, they're going to attach themselves to somebody else and do the same thing. And so when I experienced it, it was so weird to me because I felt like, what's going on here? Like I would see, I remember I dated a guy and he was like that, like, who is that? But I'm like, well, I never experienced this with a woman. And I was like, listen, I don't know what's going on here, but very territorial. And I couldn't deal with that. And so that friendship wasn't even a friendship. I mean, before it became, I had to nip that in the bud. But I've seen it so many times. And where that comes from is here. Anytime you're dealing with a person who has you on a mental plantation, like you said, that tells you, oh, you ain't call me? Oh, why you ain't come to? That is somebody who, and some people call them needy, they're very needy. But that neediness is internally. They need something within themselves. There's a lady, a young lady, oh my God, what's this girl name? Anyway, a girl who I follow on Facebook, she just got engaged. Her name is Ebony. And she spoke on her birthday. She did a whole speech, and she said something that was so powerful that I speak, and I've spoken to so many people, whether I was coaching them, whether it was just a conversation. When you, all adults, are operating from that little child that's inside of us, and when we have not healed that little child inside of us from the hurt, from the trauma, from the neglect, the abuse, whatever it is, we become adults who walk around and let that little child control us. So that little child who has not had whatever they needed that's attaching to you, that's the reason why they go through the things that they go through. And I didn't understand it until I became a lot older. And I used to judge people a lot, like, why does she like that? And because I didn't have, I was ignorant. I was ignorant to the understanding of other people and what they were going through. And then as I got older, I said, oh, okay, that's the situation. And I became from being judgmental to having some kind of empathy and saying, you know what, they can't help it, but until they see, what in them they need to get fixed, it's going to be a continuing pattern. So that comes from here. When you have a person that's very territorial, people say, oh, I've been hurt before, that's why I'm territorial. Whatever the thing is, that's that trigger is here. It has nothing to do with you. It's truly from in that person.
Yeah. Zakia, then Lakeisha.
Can I say there's the danger in staying in a friendship like that too long is it trickles into all the rest of your friendships. So then you'll begin to think that, you automatically think you're doing something wrong with a new friend who don't even care that you went and got your nails done. But it you know what I'm saying? it translates into the rest of your relationships if you stay in that too long, because now there's this manipulation that has taken place that makes you think you're doing something wrong. So now you're on guard for all your relationships because of that one. And so it's definitely a problem. Like she said, it's something that's within that they have not dealt with as a child. Like so many people are respond to life as the child that they were and don't even realize that that's how they're responding to situations. Like the other day I asked somebody, I said, tell me what happened to you as a child that makes you continue to do that. Because the response does not fit the action. You know, it don't even connect. It don't even make sense. So in her mind, she's going somewhere else with something else that happened to her now. And I get, you know, I've learned how to now be understanding. I've also learned how to move away from it, because there have been times I've been understanding and stayed around it too long. Because, you know, we tend to want to fix people, and we can't fix nobody that don't want to fix themselves. So, and it's funny because, so my friends, we do this a lot, because my best friend, she has another best friend. So every now and then I say, oh, so you went out to eat with her, you know, and I've never told her this, but the realization of it is I love the fact that she's so friendly that she can have another best friend. I love the fact that she's loved like that, because it almost validates the reason why I love her as a friend, you know. But we do that, because then sometimes when I'm, you know, she'll be like, oh, so I saw you out that other set the other day. So it's a little fun thing that we do, but so it's not the whole toxic way. But so we've learned to like laugh about it. But I've also had where I remember I was when the Heat was playing with the big three, and I was at all the games. I would have this one, oh, so you're not gonna ever take me to the game, to the point where I almost felt like I had to take her to the game one day. And when I finally took her to the game, she was on her phone the whole time. I wanted to punch her in her face. Girl, get off your phone. So that wasn't even about really wanting to go to the game. That was about controlling what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, I love that you said that the thing about staying in those type of friendships is they affect all other friendships. And when I tell you, oh, that is so true, because it makes you paranoid. It makes the other friends feel uncomfortable, and they begin to question, why are you friends with that person? You know what I'm saying? They like, why are you friends with that person? And it just affects the whole balance and the equilibrium of your life. You know, the way you move, the way you handle things. Like, do you consider this part? Do you do that? And it's so frustrating. And so I'm glad I'm not the only one. There are literally people that have friends talk about going to get nails done. I think that is so funny in the comments. That is crazy. Lakeisha.
Well, the thing is, I love to go and get my nails done by myself, right? Because that's like my self care. That's what I want to do, how I want to do it. And my best friend, she's not into getting her nails and things like that. So sometimes I will drag her along, but she's not into that stuff. So I've never asked. But I remember I had a very draining, toxic relationship in my 20s with someone. And like, you know how you ever been around somebody and their spirit is so heavy? They always sad. That's always, you know, you can be driving, having a good time. Hey, Doodle Brown, you know, back in the day. And they just looking out the window like somebody on punched them in the face. It's like, it was always this heavy spirit on them that was so bad to where people would be like, if you bring in her, don't come. Like if she's gonna be with you, don't come. Like people will call and ask if you bring in that person, because that person had me feeling obligated, like I always had to be with them. They always wanted me to ride with them. And I used to feed into that. But I knew I was so unhappy, and I used to do it just to keep them, you know, from losing their mind. But it really put me in a bad space. And those kind of friendships will wear you out, because if you going somewhere, you can't tell them, oh, I'm going to spend time with Zakia and Tiana and Victoria, because they're like, well, why you ain't invited me? I guess you like them. So I remember having that friendship, and it was so draining and toxic. I would recommend any woman that are seeing these signs to get out immediately. It's almost like, you know, it's like mental violence. It's like it keeps you in a place of not even being true to yourself because you're trying to make sure this person is, all their needs are met. And I tell you, that friendship wore me out. But then on the flip side of that, I had a friend, I still have, but I have a friend who just spoiled. So when she's with you, she be like, listen, when we go in here, don't you be talking to everybody. When we go in here, don't you be talking about, hey girl, da, 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 da. I only want you talking to me. And I understand her because I know she's always been spoiled since high school, and she's a single mom of 4 kids. So she looks for the outlets just with me and her, and we don't get to see each other that much. But she gives you the disclaimer. When we go in here, don't you blah, blah, blah. And trust me, because I know who she is. I don't do none of that, but it's not in a manipulating way. She just saying, this is my time with you. We don't get to see each other since you moved. And so I get that. But those other friendships, ladies, where you're dealing with these women who are draining on you, draining all your energy source, and they just pulling on you, you have to begin to confront those relationships. Because again, Zakia say it moves into your other relationships where people are like, you know what? Stay right home. I don't even want you around because every time you bring so and so, she's so heavy, she's so negative, and it just really ruin a good vibe, especially if that's not your personality trait. You don't need a friend like that.
Yeah, that is so good. I say pray for them and let them go. The best thing that I could have done was to let that friendship go. And when that friendship ended, my life just took off. Literally. It took off. And I can't explain it. It literally took off. I was engaged 6 months later, married. I mean, it just was, and it was hurtful. I was devastated. I've known this person most of my life. It was like a divorce, you know. When certain songs came on, I'll be like, oh, let me, and it was hard, it was difficult, but that thing wore me down, and I was able to embrace other friendships. So that's so good. I want to ask this question, and this isn't on my question list, but a lot of women go through this. And so I want to hear from Lakeisha, and everyone can, Zakia, you can talk about this. So, as a single woman, and you have a really close friend and they get married, how do you navigate their new life? Because a lot of friendships end in this dynamic. It's you and your girl, y'all out here, y'all doing your thing. She got a team, you got a team. Now she done got serious with Marcus, right? And she may invite you out with her and Marcus, but you don't want to be sitting around her and Marcus all the time. And then things begin to change. How do you deal with that? Like, what do you do?
This happened to me. And so I moved from Miami-Dade County to Atlanta. My best friend had brought a 5-bedroom house up here, had it built, and she was like, come live with me. And I was like, no, I'm, Miami, I'm rocking and rolling. I'm working for, the #1 cruise line, and I'm working at Red Lobster. I'm 27. I'm good. I ain't going nowhere. Plus, who's going to help my mom with my sister? So I had all these, I can't do it. And so when I came up here to visit, she said, you've been talking about getting from out of Miami. Here's your opportunity. And so I moved to Atlanta like 6-8 months later. I moved with my best friend. We were both single, both living it up. We prayed and fasted for 6 months before I even moved. So we didn't have that cattiness because I love to cook. My best friend didn't. The house was very spacious, so we wasn't all on top of each other. And we both love to entertain. So every Sunday we had company. So we were great. And then she met someone. So when she met this particular guy, I was not the breakthrough strategist, the life coach, the author. I was broke. I was working at a job, working part-time, making a little bit of change, and I couldn't afford to move out on my own. And so he ended up moving in the house, and I was there with them, you guys. And this is my transparent truth. I'm not ashamed of it. I was there with them for 2.5 years. So imagine you've been a roommate with your best friend for 5 years, and she meets someone and you're still there because you cannot afford to leave. And so this woman, my best friend, I was helping pick out her outfits for her date. And because you know, one thing about it, when you're talking with your friend and y'all both single, you want each other. You have a deep desire for y'all to get married. And so I'm picking out her stuff because my best friend is kind of like a plain Jane. She don't be caring about all that. And I'm like, girl, we got to do yours, some lipstick, put some mascara. And I'm watching this guy date her, court her. And then in the kitchen, he's telling me I'm getting ready to propose. And so immediately I began to get so fearful because I was like, oh my God, he finna take like my best friend away from me. He finna take her. Oh my God, oh my God. And I remember praying and I was like, Lord, how am I going to handle this? Because this is the days we pray for. Our prayers are, we are in the future of our prayers. And now I'll never forget my best friend say, I'm going to show you how, you know, we're going to still be close. And when I tell you, they end up getting married. Of course, he moved in the house. The house was a huge house. And he was like, he said, you can stay here as long as you get yourself on your feet. And you guys, I stayed there for 2.5 years. But here's the difference. When she was single, I run in her room, hop in her bed, and we'll watch TV. When she got married, I understood what respect was. I understood I didn't walk around the house with booty shorts on with no bra. You know, I didn't even walk around the house in a robe. I was fully undergarment clothed, always remained the highest form of respect. If they was in a den watching TV, I didn't go down there in between them what we watching. There was a level of respect, but I can say this. When my best friend got married and I moved out, and I have to say this part because I want y'all to understand the sacredness of a friendship. When I moved out, I fixed them breakfast in bed. I watched their children because remember, I couldn't afford to move out. And he was like, you don't have to worry about paying no more bills here. He said, the only thing I would like for you to still do is buy the food and cook because I always cook. Everybody loved my food. And so I did that, you guys, for 2.5 years. But God told me to honor them. My last day with them, her mother called me and she said, why are you moving out? Because she's my best friend is Haitian. She was like, no, we stay until you get married. You stay there until you get married. I say, no, Mom, God has blessed me and I'm able to move out now. And I remember the last day making them breakfast, serving it to them in bed and thanking them. And I tell you, when I moved out, because I honored them, keep in mind, they're going on dates. I'm single. I'm watching their first child. Right. And so the level of respect, the level of dignity, the level of humility for me, because remember, I am a woman seeing my best friend go before me. She got the husband. She got the 6-figure man at that. She got the child. So I'm watching her in honor go before me and still didn't get jealous. But I will tell you ladies this. Me and my best friend made a vow that we would make sure we both put effort into this. We talked every single day. Nothing changed. The only thing that changed, of course, I moved out. I'm doing very well. I'm not in that same predicament. I'm the breakthrough strategist now. The only thing has changed is I'm not in the house no more. But I tell you this, my best friend has made tremendous effort to make sure that our friendship have not skipped the beat. So much so, her husband now called me talking about what our best friend doing. Ask her what she doing this weekend. She want to keep these kids, right? And so now we operate as a family. I still have the key to their home. I can go to their home anytime. But again, the level of respect is still there. If I have any issues, I remember one time I needed them to invest in something that I was doing, and I called both of them. So I didn't want her trying to hide from him. I called both of them on the phone, and I was woman enough to tell both of them. And so I believe when people look at us, I tell people we are Ruth and Naomi, but we have always kept the highest form of respect and honor for each other in the sacredness. I don't get into stuff with her and her husband. I'm not going to dig up stuff. I'm not going to be the little backbiter, manipulating the situation. God has got, and I want to sow this seed into, and I decree and declare over you women that you will have at least one friend that you guys have that level of honor. And so I just started dating that last year at 40 years old, right? And so I told him, listen, if Ruth and Rashad don't like you, guess what? You got the dough, right? Because our history has been so heavy with each other. They have everything that I have needed. She was, her husband helped me move everything that I have needed. They have been there for me. And so I decree and declare over you women that you will have sacred friendships of the highest form of love and honor. And because of that friendship, because we have honored each other, there is absolutely nothing that we won't do for each other. And I get emotional when I talk about it because I know I am blessed. Because let me tell you something, ladies, it's unheard of for a woman and a man to get married. And what you mean your friend ain't moving? What you talking about? She finna be here. Not only she finna be here, but she stayed 2.5 years, and we newlyweds. And so that's my story. I know that won't be everybody's story, but again, what I want to put out there is the level of honor, the level of honor and respect. Again, when I was there, I never looked at him with tainted eyes. Never, ever, right? I never thought about him with a tainted thought. My thoughts was pure, and because my thoughts was pure, when I finally moved out, still making that low wage, God paid my lease out for a year because of my honor with my best friend and her husband. And I would say that seed of honor for 2.5 years, cooking those meals, helping her, helping them take care of their child, was the seed of breakthrough that broke me into this level of business. I'm sorry it took long, but I had to give them the whole story.
I love it. I remember the first time I heard you share that, I was blown away because we don't talk about that. We don't see that. I haven't. And I love the fact that you recognize that the honor in it. We don't honor each other as Black women the way that we're supposed to. We must honor. And that thing about sacred friendship, it is possible. The Bible, even Jesus says that we're his friend. So you know that he's ordained friendship. You know that he loves friendship. If he says, you all are my friend, I call you my friend, that's important to God. That's important to him. And so we have to spend time teaching about friendship, talking about friendship, living out sacred friendship, holding each other accountable. No, 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 that's not right. That's not how we treat each other. It has to be done because there is there's so much blessings in honor. And a lot of times we honor our man. Oh, he's our king and he's this. But we don't honor our sister. And we must honor them. We must pray for each other. We must hold each other accountable. We must be willing to make a sacrifice. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. The comments are going crazy. What a testimony. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. All glory belongs to God. That's what I call a friend. Any of you all have any similar stories about you navigating that friendship of, and it doesn't have to be as beautiful as Lakeisha's, but was there a challenge?
So I have a slightly different story, but not really different. So here was my situation, and I want to say that I'm so grateful that I can talk about this. And the reason why is because I finally had this conversation with my friends. Had I not had the conversation with them first, I wouldn't talk about it. So here's what went on with me. I got married very young. When I got married, they were not married. Then when I separated, when I separated, my two best friends then got married. So here it is. I'm going through a heartbreak of separation, heartbreak, just sick of about, almost 20 plus year marriage that's ending. And now I have to be supportive to my best friends who are now getting married, right? That was hard. When I tell you guys that was hard because now the two of them, they double date. That's something when it's just the three of us, we hang together. But them two have something that I had, but don't have anymore. So I can't really share that aspect with them. And sometimes when I see them out with their husbands and they're double dating, I'm not gonna lie, I feel some kind of way. You understand? It affects me because I'm still dealing with whatever. You understand? With my own heartbreak. And so I had to work through that because I remember sitting at both of their weddings like, man, I want to be happier than what I am right now. I am happy for them. But because of my own heartbreak at the time, it was very difficult to maneuver. But we maneuvered it. And here recently, I'm gonna tell you, and I gotta go back to my best friend. I'm the coach, but she is really the one that taught me how to maneuver this friend thing because I've dealt with so many um, heartbreaks and some situations of betrayal from not them but others that I call friends. And so my friend, my best friend, she just continued to really just love on me. She would buy me these gifts and this, that, and the other. And recently, now that I'm healed and I'm in this place, because it was a journey, that when that separation came, it's been a journey. So now that I'm healed, I'm able to now even be a better friend to them because, like we said, it's relational all around, not just because we're talking about sisterhood or friendships. My marriage was broken. So it was hard for me to really be a good friend to them in those moments, but they stuck it through with me and I so appreciate it. And I almost felt bad because I couldn't be as supportive as I wanted to, but they never attacked me for that. We never attacked each other. I honored them in their space and they honored me in mine. And recently, we all went out to eat and we had like that conversation. We were all crying or whatever, and I was like, y'all imagine how I feel when I see y'all out double date when y'all man and I don't have nothing. So now we laugh about it, but it was a journey. And I wanna when Lakeisha was talking, it didn't dawn on me that friendship is work just like a marriage, just like a relationship, like it's work. It's not just, hey girl, hey, it's work. Like it's honoring each other's space. When I'm in that space, it's making that move. It's evolving together. It's shifting. It's growing. It's communicating effectively. We finally got to that space. Like it was uncomfortable, but we stuck it through with each other until we're able to come to that space and say, this is how this went and this is how that's winning. And we were all laughing and crying. And so we have all bought each other like these Alex and Annie friendship bracelets and, different things like that, like just symbols of love for each other. But we post our pictures online and stuff and people be like, hey, y'all, but they don't know, like sometimes we've been together with some like having to like really maneuver through this thing because we've all known each other for so long. And I just want to just stop for a moment and say, I just really honor those friends who maneuver through life with some of us at those quote unquote influencers that they call us, because that can be a weird space for them too. Mm-hmm. And I had to stop and understand that for them, because now the friend that they've been knowing who did all this crazy stuff back in the day, they got to now see as somebody else. And you understand? So it can get a bit weird. And I just got to really appreciate them for that. And that's what I just recently did. I just wanted them to know that I love them and I thank them for being that friend to me when I was not. I don't really think I was the best friend at that time. And my truth is I just could not be. That's my truth.
Yeah.
And I had to really be honest about that.
That is so good. And I'm so glad that you said that too, because I'm getting teary-eyed, because I know that's why I said in the beginning, don't be so thirsty to be my friend, because being my friend comes with a lot, because I'm slow to trust. I'm slow to open up. I'm slow to be vulnerable. And I'm not always sacrificial. But when I do get to that place, it's like it's overwhelming because I'm all in. But it takes so much time to get there because, like you said, Zyke, of hurt and heartache and experiences. And one thing I love that you said, and I'm about to text my friends now. I remember going to Jazz in the Gardens one year with my friend, and she said, "Girl, this is a workout." Because everywhere I went, Victoria, what up, girl? How you doing? Oh my, yeah, my bitch was very good. What do you do? How you do? And she was like, I just want to eat. Like, Because, we sat in the front, Jazz in the garden. That's a long walk to the food. She said, I just want to eat. And I was like, I'm sorry. I, I'm sorry. And it everywhere we turn, and I've always kind of been that way. And I thank God for my friends. Amber's on here. I thank God for them navigating through my silent years where I didn't have much to say and I couldn't reach out, but they still are like, that's my girl. And whatever they need, whatever she need, I'm there for her. That is so good. That is so, so good. Tiana.
So I want to first say, Lakeisha and Zakia, y'all, your stories, amazing for me. And this is so funny because I have some similar situations where I've been with my husband now. We've been married 10 years. This is our 11th year coming up, but this is not my first marriage. I was married to my daughter's father. I got married very young. So could you imagine 19 going on 20 and being a mother and a wife? My best friend and I have been friends since 5th grade. And I can honestly say, now my grandmother, God rest her soul, my grandmother was a person who spoke whatever came up, came out. And I remember when I was telling her I was getting married to my daughter's father, she said, well, what you want to marry him for? And my best friend, we laugh about that to this day. But even through me being a young mother and a young wife, we was inseparable. I don't care if my motherly and wifely duties had me at home. When I needed her, she was there for me. And I might not have been able to be there for her as much as she needed me. However, going through this thing of life, getting a divorce young, getting married young, then getting a divorce young, getting a divorce at a young age. That person that when I say, if God forbid anything happened to me, this girl can tell you my whole life story. And being a person with all the things that I have going on. And when I got with my husband now, I remember in 2015, we renewed our wedding vows. And of course, she walked in my wedding, but what was said behind the scenes was, you're talking about makeup needed to be touched up, because she said to me that how much she not only appreciated and loved me, but how much she prayed for my husband who I'm with now. And I want you to understand, at the time she was in a relationship and going through a divorce, and your friend is in a happy relationship, but we always was happy for each other. And so we didn't know what it was to be envious or jealous. Never. Now I can say not even a little bit of bone, not a tiny bit in our body. And when I tell you, it has been times where I had to talk to her, and I never forget the first time she met my husband. She said, "That's not your type. However, what you think is your type wasn't your type either. So get a brother a chance." And having that friend that even through the good and the bad have always been there. And so now seeing our life come full circle. I texted her the other day because she moved from Miami to Chicago. And I remember when she was moving to Chicago with her fiance, I had a conversation with him and I said, I want you to understand something. This is the first time in me and my friend's life where we see each other full circle. And you see how you said, Victoria, how when your friend used that judge in the garden, you're like, oh, and I just want some food. I don't want to be stopped. My friend, when I say this girl has been with me through thick and thin, and I don't care what I got going on in my life, but my most pivotal moment, she's there. She's going to make a way out of no way. And so I remember when I did my book release in 2018, she was working at the airport. She was a supervisor at the airport, and she was working midnight shift. And she rearranged her whole time, her whole day. And then when I moved further north, she was still staying in Bell Harbor at the time. And we lived an hour and 25, almost hour and 30 minutes away. And they had a surprise party for her. I got in that car and I drove. And not even thinking about it, but having this conversation now that we are so many miles apart. And I wouldn't change a thing, because to me, our friendship is so sacred that throughout all the times of the good, the bad, the ups and the downs, and you seeing that whole roller coaster ride, but the whole roller coaster ride, I know I was looking to my left of me and my girl was there, and vice versa. And so being able to hear both of y'all stories and listening to talking about honor, I never even understood that that's what it was. That was the word for it. Because in spite of everything, you're talking about honor. I remember my daughter, who's 20 years old now, and she was about 10 when she found out that my best friend was not her biological auntie. She said, Auntie LaShawn is not my auntie. And I was like, no, that's my best friend. But that's just how close we are. And people didn't understand, well, why didn't you make her the godmother of your children and vice versa? Because we had a pact. We had a system where, no, godmothers is one thing, but sisters is something different. So we always have honored each other. My mother is her mother. Her mother is my mother. Like, you talk about honor on a whole nother, you cannot talk. Listen, it was at one time years ago when I worked at the airport, and she told me about, she says, listen, there's a job hiring. This when TSA first became TSA. They hiring, come down here and get this job, to get decent money, good benefits. And we worked together briefly, and you could not talk to me about her and vice versa. Listen, she would nip it in the bud, and it's still to this day. But going back to when you're going through that transition, when you are the friend that is single, you know, I was a mother and I was single, and my friend was in a whole full-blown relationship. Listen, I had to respect it. Not only did I respect it, even if I didn't too much care for the person, I cared for her more than anything. So I honored the relationship, and vice versa. And so that, to me, listening to y'all story and being able to see it from a different spectrum is something that's so empowering, because this is conversation that we don't talk about. I remember hearing someone say to me before, you always posting stuff about your husband all the time. And this was a person who I felt like was a very good friend of mine. You always post stuff about your husband all the time. And I said to her, you were not there when I couldn't post about who I was with. Come on. You wasn't there through the previous relationship when I had to be up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning crying. And now I can smile, and it resonates. And that's my form of honor. And so understanding that when a person is not happy within themselves and they don't have a relationship, because one thing about it, and two things for sure, you don't have to be in a relationship to be happy. Being single and being okay with being single is something that for 6 years people didn't understand. When I got a divorce from my daughter's father, I was by myself for 6 years. Didn't date, didn't see 6 years. And so understanding that, I had to understand who Tiana was and what I will and won't accept. And so be okay with that. But don't feel like, oh, you know, I see all my friends around me in a relationship, I want that too. There's nothing wrong with wanting it. But when you go through that thin line where it becomes a part of wanting it and being hateful towards it, like you always talking about, listen, I've experienced that too. I've experienced that, and I had to question myself, like, maybe I shouldn't post about this, or maybe I shouldn't post about, but I had to say no, because you know what? But every time that I do post and I have a woman in my inbox saying, you give me hope. Listen, I talk about my story because at the end of the day, I was young and divorced and out here by myself with a young girl that had to look up to me and look up to the decisions that I made. So I want to give people, the reason why I do post a lot about my husband and we talk, me and talk on this platform before openly about, you know, the truth about marriage. You know, people want a wedding, but they don't want a marriage. That's two different things. That's a whole other topic. But to want the marriage is one thing. To want the pretty pictures and the posting and all that stuff is something different. But honoring your friend in the time when they are in a good relationship. Listen, I have a saying that if God is blessing my neighbor, that means he's in the neighborhood. So if I can see my sister in a happy, thriving relationship, I'm saying, you go, girl, because God gonna bless me with the same thing tenfold. That's the reason why. And to hear to hear your story, Lakeisha, and to hear your story, Zakira, is something that is so empowering that people need to hear. They need to hear that.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. That is so good. Well, I have one final question, because our time, I try to end at 10 o'clock. And thank y'all so much. The comments are going crazy. I think the our audience is really enjoying this conversation. My final question is, and these are your final thoughts and our kind of our goodbyes for tonight, is what has being a having a Black strong woman in your life as a friend done to change your life? I want to end on that note and also share. Well, let me phrase it this way: how important has it been and beneficial has it been for you to have another Black woman as your friend and to walk in life with? Because I want to end on the note of how important friendship is with another Black woman. I think it is so powerful, and we didn't get to this due to time, but I think society has done such a great job in making sure that Black women are constantly being pitted against each other. And I think that's because society knows that when Black women come together, and then on a bigger note, when Black people come together and know who we are, things have to change. And we're starting to see that, and I'm so thankful for that. But I really want Black women and all the Black women and Black men that are on tonight to really walk away with understanding how pivotal it is to be connected in a sacred friendship with another Black woman. So I want you to share your final thoughts on that as we close out. I'll start with Tiana. I know you just spoke, but I want to start with you, and then we will close.
So from I guess my closing remarks would be how important it is for me. It's something that is very important, not because to have somebody that looks like me, that encourages me. A lot of times we take for granted certain things, and I think this whole dialogue that we've done tonight has opened up the eyes to a lot of things, if not to somebody else, to you first. And so to me, that it has been very important to me, because I know for myself, there's times where, I talked earlier about having someone to always, always the one encouraging people, but having someone to encourage you, it has been very important to me. And so I think that having a woman, such a woman of color, because like you said earlier, society has this thing where it's, that's why I don't like reality shows, because the cattiness, the Real Housewives and the cattiness, that's what they want to portray it to be. But when you can come together, let me tell you something. This right here, like even this platform, is something that is not only new, but it's needed in this society. To sit here and say, yes, I am, Lakeisha's a coach, Zakira's a coach, Victoria's a coach, I'm a coach. But guess what? We also know that even though we are in our own boxes, like we're in our own lane, but I can still encourage Victoria, and I can still encourage Lakeisha, and I can still encourage Zakira. And to me, my closing remark would definitely be not only to say that yes, it's very important, but also be that person that you want somebody to be. In other words, if you want somebody to be, more understanding and listen more, be that person too. Sometimes we want so much. We're naturally sometimes takers. Sometimes it's better be a giver than just a taker. But that's my ending remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love that. Be the person that you want to be. Be the friend that you want in a friend. I think that's so important. Zakia.
I'm almost in tears. I really am. And I know I've shared this with you, Victoria, and I know you probably don't expect me to share it now. Um, but it means everything to me, because I've been in situations. I'm being very transparent. I've been in situations where I was hurt by us too, really hurt by us, and I think that's why I knew this was one of my callings, to make sure that we stick together, because it just came at me too strong from other. You understand? It was just something that it appeared that it was meant for me not to love us, and so. Again, I'll just never forget that time when I was really, really deep, when I was first diagnosed with depression and really going through. And like you said, Tiana, just being very transparent. I've always been transparent on social media. I didn't know I was going to come to the space that I'm in now. I've just always been very transparent because I always felt like anything that I've gone through was to help somebody else. And I owe it to other people to talk about it because it's my testimony at the end of the day. So in talking about depression a lot, and never seeing and never even knowing that this was a thing and understanding that there had to be other Black women out there that were depressed as well. I just opened up this dialogue about it. And I'll never forget one day, you guys, I was on the edge. I was on the edge. And I posted on social media, I said, if you know how to pray, please pray. Because in my mind, I saw myself driving off of a cliff somewhere. Victoria texts me a prayer. You hear me? I read the prayer. God. And immediately I was better. Immediately. She didn't even respond to the post. She just texted me a prayer. And it was like in that moment, it began to show me just how much we need each other and how we just don't have time to try to not like this one and not like that one, because there may be moments in our life where we need to hold each other up, and we owe it to each other to find the strength to keep going, even when we have been in, because we all have experienced something. And it was in that moment I said, I got to continue to fight for us. I got to continue to fight for sisterhood, because there are just some moments we are going to need each other. And so after that prayer, I turned my car on. I was fine. I was calm. I think I may have responded thanks to her. I'm not sure. I went on Facebook. I deleted the post because it wasn't something about attention. I needed somebody in that moment. And all I knew to do was go on Facebook and cry for help. And my beautiful Black sister came to my rescue. And I was ever so grateful. And so in that moment is when I just knew that this was something that we had to continue to connect and continue to be there for each other, because we're all so connected, but we never know it when we don't communicate. We think we got it all together. You understand? And when I began to open up about depression, and so many other women started to open up to me as well, and did not have anywhere to go and didn't know who to talk to, I knew we needed to stay connected and stay and honor. Lakeisha, that's a word that I'm taking that. I'm gonna tag you on it. I'm gonna make sure I tag you on it, because I gotta use that and honor each other. Because at the end of the day, y'all, we're all going through something, and some of us have made it over, and some of us have not. And so it's such a powerful thing to be able to take my sister's hand and carry them or pull them or push them in that moment. And so I knew I even owed it to not just to myself, but to my sisters, to get myself together. And so that's why it's so important to me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I've been holding back tears this whole conversation, because there's so many different layers and facets to this. And at the end of the day, Zakia, like you said, we need each other. There's this sermon that was preached by this heavy-set white guy. My dad invited him to our church, and he preached a sermon called 1 Degree of Separation. And he literally traced his whole genealogy back to Jesus Christ, and how we were literally 1 degree of separation from somebody. And his whole premise of that sermon, I will never forget it, was that literally we're all connected. We're literally one person away from our next breakthrough. We're one handshake away from our next healing. Literally one act of kindness can literally change the trajectory of our life. And so when it comes to Black women and friendship and sisterhood, it is so important that, and again, we've said this from the beginning, we're not going to always get it right, but we have to hold each other up. We have to go beyond ourselves. That sacrifice again, that love, that respect, that honor, going beyond yourself to extend yourself to another woman is so important, because Black women are one of the most disregarded people on this planet. And so, if nothing else, we got to take care of each other. We have to. We have so many things beating us down. Seriously, we have so many things beating us down. We have to take care of each other. Your final thoughts, Lakeisha. And thank you so much for sharing. I didn't know you were going to share that, but I appreciate you sharing that. I too have suffered from depression and still am challenged with it. And so when I saw that, I had to, because I knew. So Lakeisha.
Wow. Let me just say, ladies, I enjoyed being on this panel with all you coaches and authors and speakers. I do believe that God makes no mistakes. I believe that every woman will be rewarded, every queen will be rewarded. And if we can understand that if one queen go before me, it's okay because the angel is right behind him to bless me. You know, one of the things I remember preaching a sermon that said, you can't get jealous because the angel on his way to hit your house too. The angel had to get Elizabeth pregnant first. John had to come first before Jesus. And so sometimes we get angry when people go before us, but you got to know that if you're a queen of the Lord, every queen will get a turn. Esther was an orphan and she inherited queenship. And so you can be on the bottom of the total pole and God still is going to exalt you in due season. I remember one of the things I love about having Black friends, Black women as queens, as my friends, because in this industry of life coaching in ministry, I have been highly disrespected by Black women because one, I don't look like, I'm not the whole glamorous person. I show up, I minister, I sit down. And so I don't need the whole fanfare and the hoopla. And because of that, I've been highly disrespected in the industry by other Black women, uh, very disrespected. But I have built and helped build some big old brands. And so one thing that I say about my Black queens in my circle is that they'll be like, we hate how you are disrespected, but you are all that to us. And God sees your heart. And so I have the type of Black women in my circle that although I can't come home to, or, I used to not be able to come home to that man that would pour into me spiritually. But honey, I have my girlfriends that say, girl, we listen to you. We so proud of you. We happy for you. What's better than a Black woman of excellence encouraging, empowering, coaching, teaching, serving other Black women of excellence? It's nothing better. And so I want to encourage you ladies on this journey. You need somebody. You may not need everybody, but somebody needs you, baby. Somebody needs you. And so one of the things that I learned on the journey is not about the disrespect that I have had in ministry, in churches, in being a coach, but it's about how God sees me and how God is pleased with my heart. So you, Black queen, understand that whatever you need, God will give it to you. You need your sisters because a Black woman knows the struggle, the pain, the insecurities, the depression, the mental health, the mental illness, and the sometimes low self-esteem that we have dealt with. And so I want to encourage you in your journey of life, developing and cultivating and honoring your friends. I know about honor because Elisha honored Elijah so much so that because of that, he had to be blessed. And if you keep that in your mind, that because of your honor at every level, how about this? Decree this. Every level of disrespect that a Black woman give me, God will reward me greatly because I would not stop. I would not stop. I would not stop respecting other Black women. And so I want you to understand today, as we close, I want you tomorrow or tonight, text your friends and say thank you. How can our friendship grow some more? How can I be a better friend? What do you need assistance with this week? You know what? How can I get a group of us at the house and we work on something positive to put all this other mess behind us? I tell you this. It doesn't matter if you don't have friends that's popular and big time influencers. I want you to focus on what God has given you, because you may not have 10 donkeys, but you got 2 donkeys. And how you take care of those 2 donkeys will open up the portals and the floodgates of heaven for you to have 10 donkeys. And so don't ever minimize your process. Don't minimize what's in your hands. All you got to do is give God glory. Cultivate friendships with other black women. Every black woman ain't jealous of you, girl. Some black women
Yes.
are just looking at you because you got the glory. I remember I walked in this room, this girl was staring at me, and I was like, Lord, why is she staring at me? She said, can I tell you, when you walked in, I seen your angels, but not every black woman is looking at you because they jealous of you. Not every black woman is looking at you because of your nice red bottom shoes. Some women see something on you that they wish that they can have. They wish that God would give them. And so I speak a word of health over your life. May you be healed. Whatever areas that the enemy have came in your life to rob from you concerning friendships with other women, may you be healed tonight instantaneously. May God deliver you from out of that where you feel like you can't be friends with another woman, because God has designed us to be friends. And Victoria, thank you. Thank you for allowing God for you to choose me for this segment. Thank you for seeing the value in us. Thank you for seeing not only the value in us, but the worth, our transparency. And thank you for seeing the journey that we have been through as women and calling us forward. I tell you, this is the month that God's women is about to come into full view. That's all I got to say. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. I'm grateful and forever thankful that you would choose this black girl, Dade County, no degree, just decrees, to come and be a part of such a wonderful segment.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Oh my goodness. I remember this is, you don't know this, Lakeisha, and to all of you, Zakia and Tiana. Um, I'm going to share this briefly and y'all just be patient with me. So, Lakeisha doesn't know, one day I was in my dad's office and I saw your book. I think you sent him your book. It's a purple book, Lakeisha. You sent my dad this book, and my dad, people send him books all the time. And it was on his desk. I said, "Who is this?" And he was like, "Oh, this lady. She used to be here in Miami-Dade, but she's moved. She wrote a book and she sent it to me. You should read it." So he was like, I said, "Oh, you sure?" He said, "Yeah, you should read it." So I took it with me. Didn't know who you were, never seen you, nothing. And then I, to this day, don't remember how we met. I think it was at a Lorraine event. I heard you speak, and I went, "That's the lady of the book." It like that goes back to that sermon, 1 degree of separation. You just happened to be on my dad's desk. I saw you years later at a Lorraine event, and I knew that I needed to speak. And at that Lorraine event, I was so sad that day, because again, feeling disrespected as a young woman in ministry, trying to come up and trying to just learn as much as I can, and people that said that they would mentor me never followed through. And I just heard you speak, and you were so powerful. And so I've just literally just been the little girl that's been watching you as a big sister, seeing you navigate. And it has been such an honor. And I promise you, when I thought about sisterhood, I literally saw your 3 faces tonight. And I'm so thankful for that. Zakia, you reached out to me to be a part of your network that you were doing. And I was just so honored that you even found me to be worthy. And I just loved you for that, that you said, I wanted to bring you, knowing that I was super churchy, but you still said, "Hey, let me bring Victoria," and you found what I had to say and contribute to be worthy. And Tiana, I came into an event. You reached out to me. You said, "Hey, I want us to connect." I was super nervous. I was super nervous of again meeting a new friend, and you said, let's go." And you just always been, let me encourage you. Let me tell you that you're worth it, Victoria. And I so appreciate that. And so I'm honored that you all said yes. I'm honored that you all shared tonight. I'm so full. I'm so encouraged. I'm just so thankful. And this is our last Where Do I Fit In for 2020. And this is how you close it out. Because when I thought about doing this, I just wanted to amplify Black women's voices, and not just amplify it, but Black women that I knew that everyone didn't know. A lot of people were like, you should get big names to be on your thing. You know, a lot. I was like, no. You know how many Black women I know that are doing amazing things? Like, no, they don't have these big things. No, I'm going to call Tiana. I'm going to call Lakeisha. I'm going to call Zakia. Because, yeah, I can go and call so-and-so to talk about sisterhood. Yeah, I know their number there in my phone. But no, I'm calling people that I know that I can entrust this little bitty platform to. And I'm so appreciative that y'all did not find it robbery to just be open. And so I just thank you all. For all of you all watching, this is what this means. Sisterhood, we are literally 1 degree away of separation. We talked a lot about a lot of different things. And so if you're in a toxic relationship, you may need to separate for a time. But if you have a friend, you need to honor them and appreciate them. I'm just so full tonight. That was just amazing. I'm just beyond grateful for God. He's so faithful. We will be back in January. We will be back in January. We will be back. And a lot of the episodes, we're going to bring them back. You're going to be seeing these women come back again to have much more further conversations and get to know them, follow them. You got to know Tiana, Lady T. You got to know her. She'll go live in a minute and set your whole day straight. You got to get in contact with Zakia. They have, I believe, you and Pastor Jacqueline Wright have Just Us Girls. You gotta get connected to Lakeisha. She is a breakthrough strategist. When she speaks, things move. She comes with such an anointing on her life. And so I'm just so grateful for every single panel, for every person. My mom has been on every single panel. Ava has done every flyer, every visual that you've seen. She's done it. She will not let me pay her. She said, I want to help you. And that's what I'm talking about. Sisterhood. I created a panel. Y'all, I had this idea. I put a flyer out there because I'm one of those people, when God gives me an idea, I just need to do it quickly or I won't do it. And so I just put a flyer out there. She texted me, she said, it's cute, but I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you do this. And she's done that. And I'm so grateful for her. I'm all of my friends, Mishu, Mimi, Amber, Tashay, all of these Black women that said, I just want to help you. I just want to be there and help you. And so I'm so grateful. I love you all. We will be back in January. Until then, every Monday, I'm going to do a watch party from some of our panels that we can just watch and talk about. So join me on that. If you want to get to know and be a part, definitely a website will be coming soon. A lot more merch is coming soon. So definitely be on the lookout. Again, before we leave tonight, I want you to support For All Womankind, blackity.com. I want you to buy something right now. Go on blackity.com and make sure that you get this sweatshirt. You can dress it up, put some tassel earrings on, a red lip, some stilettos, some leather pants. You can dress it up. You can put on some tights with some sneakers, rock it out, and make sure that you support. Again, panel do not go anywhere. But for the rest of you all, good night, good night, good night. I love you, and I will see you soon.